lawn needs weed control, fertilize, insect control, Turf Pro has you covered by providing custom treatments to meet your property's needs. No property is the same, so why should it be treated that way? Turf Pro, where the blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Call 850-890-5820.
Those school bells are about to ring. Celebrate with a trip to Krispy Kreme and have a back-to-school Krispy Kreme celebration. Teachers have already returned, so stop by Krispy Kreme and pick up a dozen or two for that favorite teacher. Krispy Kreme with 2 locations in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Remember, get them hot this school year at Krispy Kreme.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
You owe the IRS back taxes, and dealing with the IRS stresses you out. Fortunately, IRS Problem Relief can help you resolve back taxes and represent you to the IRS so you don't have to face them alone. Last year, IRS Problem Relief saved clients drowning in tax debt. And IRS Problem Relief is a local company right here in Panama City, not some 800 number where you can never talk to the same person twice. Put those problems behind you so you can focus on moving forward. Call Edward Corey with IRS Problem Relief, 850-784-8176. For a free consultation, call Edward Corey with IRS Problem Relief. It's 850-784-8176 or visit irsproblemrelief.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Pushed away and intercepted. Ball game. The fairy tale continues.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
And the breakthrough for the U.S.
4.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Panama City? You are now tuned in to the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick, Johnny Yankee Seed, and the Bone Crusher. Hope you all out there are having a wonderful Friday afternoon. As Johnny Yankee Seed mentioned, walking in this afternoon, it's kind of hot out there, and it is. And I'm wearing this particular jersey just really because I like it, and I only got one opportunity to wear it throughout the season because I got it on the final game of the season, but it's got the Florida flag on it.
Right on.
I tell you what, this jersey right here holds sweat like you're wearing a towel or something. Like it feels like it's got that fabric that, is kind of wicking or whatever, but I feel like it just absorbs it and holds on to it, and you can wring it out as you go. So
perfect for that weather we're having. It's hot out there, but it's a wet heat, wet hot,
Exactly. Nice and humid out there. Hopefully it won't be too bad Friday evening. Team Dynasty got their win last night, and we move on to the playoffs. That'll be Tuesday evening, and then Glizzy boys got a big W yesterday. It was 23-1. Even I wasn't there, but the guys did their thing last night. NFL season 41 days away, 40 days in a sleep, if you will. 29 days away from Florida State and Georgia Tech. Johnny Yankee Seed here in the South, but you are a Yankee and you wear that nickname with pride, if you will. What are you looking forward to more, the NFL season or college football season? Are you starting to get entrenched here yet, or do we even have? Who's your favorite college team?
I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I know, I'm sorry.
2 strikes, one more, you're out of here.
I mean, look at Yankees, Notre Dame.
Yep, true enough. Hey, at least you're keeping it consistent, right?
I got away from them, though. I'm going to be honest. The game just, I realized what the game was, and I was like, let me get away from this. I don't want to lose sleep over it. There's too many things to be angry about. And
right.
So I'm not a diehard by any means. I'll loosely root for them these days, but the girlfriend's an Ole Miss Ole Miss fan, so I kind of Eli Manning,
I like it. The colors, the color scheme is similar depending on which version of uniform.
You can change your allegiance. We've had people like old school, give up on the Falcons. My grandparents dumped Notre Dame, not too long ago last season. So I mean, yeah, you can. It's okay to do these things.
We had a bill of divorcement written on the inside drive. Jay in the Atlanta Falcons, and then he moved on to the Buffalo Bills, and I think we're going to be transitioning him to the Tennessee Titans.
Interesting.
Yeah,
no doubt. I wonder how that come about.
It's very easy to sway him.
Yeah,
it's very easy to
that's
sway
you know
him.
what? Then you know what? That's people like that. No offense, Jay, I love you, man, but I don't want you on my side of the fence. I want hardcore fans, man. I don't want wishy-washy, like fair weather type people on my side of the fence.
But if you come to the Titans and you're wishy-washy, you're going to be washing away very. Very, very soon. I just feel like he would fit in better with the people of Nashville more so than the people of Buffalo.
You don't think he's crazy enough, huh?
I think
jumping on tables that are lit on fire, wrapped in barbed wire.
Got a tinge of craziness to him, but I also think that his friendliness fits in better with the people of Nashville.
No, man. If you're talking friendliness, anybody needs to go to like someplace like Minnesota or like Green Bay. You betcha.
I mean, I would at least try to think on the Southern hospitality sides of things that Nashville's pretty nice. Every time I've been there, I've never had, and now obviously
I'm just talking about fan bases in general, though, and like parts of the country in general, which probably be like maybe that.
I think the people of Minnesota would have a hard time understanding Jay. At first, so? I mean, at first, just the thick Southern accent there. I think that it would blend in better over there in Nashville. But and also we all know his affinity with the color of baby blue. Those other teams that you mentioned, they don't got that. Tennessee Titans
maybe needs to go to Philly or maybe SoCal, like LA Chargers,
Chargers. What does Philly have to do with that?
I'm just saying because the powder blues, man, with the Phillies.
With the Philadelphia Phillies.
I'm just saying if you look,
he's a Braves fan through and through.
But if you're talking baby blue, man, or powder blue, I mean, there's nothing that's better than powder blue and maroon.
I know we go to powder blue, eliminate the maroon, and just go add a deeper shade of like a royal blue, and go to the '80s Braves right there.
No,
that'll work. That'll work. 850-215-6290 is the number to call or text today. The Braves, another loss last night, 3-2 in extra innings. Didn't have an opportunity to watch this game. I did see someone on Facebook, Brian Bramlett, his status was that the Braves are like the Cowboys of the 90s. Or the Braves are starting to be like the Cowboys. Maybe he's talking about the fans.
What's that, like mediocrity?
I think that's what he's getting at is, the fans, high expectations and acting like everything's great. And
I don't know
the
about
reality that we're given.
The Braves fans, they're not that quite obnoxious yet, I wouldn't say. I don't think you guys have won enough, number one. I don't think you guys have had a long enough stretch of mediocrity. You just won the World Series a few years ago.
Right.
So I think that might be kind of a poor, analogous representation.
Okay, well, it made me chuckle, though. Yeah. It made me chuckle last night again. I didn't get to watch the game, and then seeing the highlight, or not seeing the highlight, seeing the score, I was not really interested in the highlights, especially after seeing that the Phillies dropped yesterday, too.
Yeah.
So that was, at least a silver lining in the very, very dark clouds of now a 5-game losing streak for the Atlanta Braves. Very tough.
A lot of losing going around. It's kind of contagious. Yeah. Skeens lose his first game. Was it?
He goes 8 1/3. Goes 8 1/3 and lose.
They probably, and I hate to say this, man, maybe he shouldn't have gone out there for that 9th inning. Because he gave up the home run in the 9th right there to give up the lead. Maybe he should just stayed, done the 8 and then not gone and pushed it for the 9th.
Who's the manager for the Pirates? Derek Shelton, I believe. Got kind of crucified for not letting Skeens go out in the 9th inning. The previous start, this time's
but
like,
they won that game though.
Right? So. Exactly. It's danged if you do, danged if you don't in the world of baseball. But yeah, you're right. Maybe just hey, if you're getting 8 innings out of your starting pitcher these days.
Don't get greedy.
That's almost considered a complete
2 starts.
Game.
That's almost 2 starts nowadays, man. With like going 4 innings, basically being a normal start for a lot of guys. I mean, yeah,
right.
And I mean, he's a young guy. I'd want to save that arm. I want to, have it. Obviously, we're not going to do anything early in the playoffs this year or anything. But down the road, if you want to save that arm and you want to have the longevity there, and you plan on keeping it there a while, save them up, man. Don't use them up now.
Why can't the Pirates do anything in the playoffs?
Okay, where is the history, the track record for recency? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they can't technically, but without there being any kind of recent sample size of them being successful, you know.
So when the Diamondbacks last year.
Yeah. Admiration. I mean, like, if you look at how they got into, they had, what was it?
That would be my
a minus run differential, making it into the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, you shouldn't have even made it in.
And it took the right fielder, Seiya Suzuki, dropping that fly ball against the Braves for that to happen, for that ball to start rolling for the Diamondbacks. But it seems like we're getting that every year, where whoever that second or third wild card spot is, they're making it to the World Series, bro. Think about 2021. Yeah. Who was it? The Philadelphia Phillies. Where'd they come from?
We were the last team in.
Exactly, man. I think that's just starting to become something now. The Pirates are a little bit out of that final wild card spot, but it does seem like they're not going all in on the trade deadline. But it does look like they're going to be doing a little bit of addition. Looks like they're looking at two Miami Marlins outfielders and Jazz Chisholm and Brian De La Cruz over there. So we'll have to see, man. I mean, 52-50. Honestly, to say that the Pirates are over 500 after the All-Star break is something pretty impressive, man. And you have to give, obviously, with any starting pitcher, you can't give them all the credit for what's going on with the team. But I do think that he's been a nice shot in the arm.
All right. Well, I was just going to say there. All right. So he's got, what is it, 12 starts now, I think? 12,
if
13,
it's not 12, it's
somewhere.
13.
Okay. And, one loss. So basically, without him, look at what the record might be. Losing record, not a, winning record.
Right.
More than likely. So just one player right there. So that's what I'm saying. Let's like you like to say, let's let the cake bake. Let's see what happens, see what happens if they make it into the playoffs and if they can make a run. Shoot,
could you imagine?
Look how good Skeens is right now. We've seen so many players throughout history in all kinds of sports light it up during the regular season. Then when it comes time to actually do it in the postseason, just ain't there. Look at like a Clayton Kershaw, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Look how dominant he is during the regular season. Now, we've seen Skeens in college, and he's no joke. But the pros and the big show is a lot different than playing in college.
And it's a lot different when you're going, game at a time, compared to, all right, now you're in a 5-game series. Now you're in a 7-game series. There's an opportunity here for this team to see you twice, depending on how many innings you go, or depending on when it is in the series that you get your start.
And a guy like him, he's going to be probably your ace. So he's going to go game one, and then you're going to use him again game, right? 5, 6, or 7, depending on how it rolls out.
Yeah, absolutely. Chef Ross says it would be epic to give Andrew McCutchen a ring on his way out. Rick Ty, what's up, guys? And Kyle Alberton says, all this baking and I see no cakes. Give us cake. Give the people what they want. No one else has asked for cake, my friend, except for you. So we're not going to single out anyone, and no cake for you, my friend. If you come August 25th to the live draft at PCB Hobby, we'll hit you with a pie in the face.
Cake
How about
Nazi.
that?
No cake for you.
Yeah, no cake for you. Dylan Cease yesterday threw the no-hitter. We talked about that yesterday on the show. 9 strikeouts, 114 pitches. This is coming after a 76-minute rain delay, which is the most impressive feat to me, but also his teammate who caught the final out, Luis Arraez, broke up Dylan Cease's no-hitter in 2022 when Cease was still with the White Sox, and I believe Arraez at that point was either with the Minnesota Twins, might have been with the Marlins, but I think in 2022 that would have had him with the Twins because I believe he won the batting title in the American League that year. So how cool is that? Late in the 9th inning, Arraez breaks up Dylan Cease's no-hitter, and then yesterday makes a great play to seal the no-hitter for Dylan.
Yeah, and they also had a great play early in the game to keep it going where, like, in the outfield, one of the outfielders bobbled the ball, but his teammate was right there to make the play and catch the ball and get the out. Without that, no.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. What a play there. Great awareness and great backup by the center fielder, because that's a long way to run in, and most of the time the guy sees the infielder is going to get it. He's going to give him 3, 4, 5 feet of space, and right there he was just right on time. Chef Ross chiming in, those cakes are what caveman uses to get those babies he's about to kick. So the joke continues to run. This is
Was this like about a month now going on?
It feels like it's been that long, and it's wild that it just keeps on rolling, never running out of babies to kick. How about this?
Line them up.
Yeah, no doubt. Jake McGowan, where you at? Come get him. Tua getting paid 4 years, $212.4 million, which makes him the third highest paid quarterback in the league. Now, Johnny Yankee Seed, where's your head at on this?
That's way too much money for him. But right off the bat, that's way too much money. 53 per. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
You seem to just breathe on. He seems to get hurt, and I don't know.
Well, look at the guys in front of him. Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't had a long history of injuries, but dealt with them last year. And then Joe Burrow seems like an every other year thing. $167 million of this guaranteed. Caveman Rick, where are you at with this?
I don't know. Say what you got to say first. Let me see what you think.
Here's the thing. The Dolphins were not necessarily in a position where they had to make a move. However, do you want to keep your quarterback kind of happy? Do you want to wait till next year and more quarterbacks get deals and then all of a sudden you're paying? Because Dak is more than likely going to be getting over 60. Doesn't matter if it's the Cowboys or not. Dak's going to get over 60 because it's not happening this year, right? The salary cap's going to the salary cap's going to rise a little bit.
Well, it's all based on his production too. What Dak does.
I mean, yeah, but if he has a bad year, then maybe he doesn't get $60 million. The only thing that's going to hold him back is really only having CeeDee Lamb over there to throw to. Is the offensive line going to let up? But still, Dak gets a lot of hate for the Cowboys' implosions when they're not 100% his fault. I mean, as a guy who Will Levis is the quarterback of my team, you give me Dak, I take that in a heartbeat. So anyways, no matter who it is, someone is getting a deal over $60 million. When we're sitting at $55 million right now, I think the highest paid quarterback last year was Jalen Hurts, $52 million. So you increase about $3 to $5 million a year. So, all right, if it's not 60, it'll be 58. So you're looking at paying Tua even more the next year. So I think that it's one of those where you keep your quarterback happy. Do I think he's worth it? I don't think the fact that Patrick Mahomes isn't on the top 10 list, it goes to show you that these teams are not even paying attention to what the blueprint should be, which is, yes, pay your quarterback handsomely, but also save enough to where you can still have a team put around him, and that's going to be the issue. Are the Dolphins going to be able to keep really what has made Tua successful to this point and having very speedy receivers and with great hands as well, Tyreek Hill, but also to have a guy like Jalen Waddle over there is, it's almost priceless to an extent. So I think that the Dolphins didn't have to make this move. However, they were going to be paying more in the long run for it. The top 10 quarterbacks ain't not one of them. Top 10 paid quarterbacks, not a single one of them have a Super Bowl. So there's that.
I think they overpaid him. I mean, you're kind of, I guess you're strapped if that's the guy you're looking to for the future. Of course, with his injury history, you don't know about the longevity. I think I would have paid him. Obviously, sooner than later. Like you're saying, the longer you wait, the probably more it's going to be. Paying him now, if I was going to pay him now, I probably would have paid him less than what he got if he'd happily take it, like how you're saying.
Yeah.
But again, if he wants to have the weapons around him, you kind of have to be smart about it and realize if you want to win, you might have to sacrifice a little bit. And hell, if you win, the money's there, right? There's endorsements. There's other kinds of ways to make money outside of the NFL. So if you put up good numbers and you're consistently winning, I think the money's there. And, well, where do we live?
Florida.
And what's a big benefit of living in this state?
No state taxes, baby.
So that's even more money if you look at it like that, as opposed to living someplace like maybe like Texas or something, or like in California. Whatever, that money that he's getting ahead on taxes, you just take that right off the top too. So, I mean, it's less money there too. So just staying here alone, you're kind of giving yourself a little bit of a bonus as opposed to some other place, some other location,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I get it, but I wouldn't have paid him as much. I would have offered him less and seen if he would have took less.
Do we know if they built an out of that contract, or is it just straight 4 years and cap hit?
I'm not entirely sure
and,
on that.
mentioned this the other day when AG was here too. I mean, the NFL can print money. I mean, they're not guaranteed deals, you know, so they're not set in stone. You can rip it up, you can throw the deal away, and you can start all over from scratch. So that's why when they do these deals, I'm really not too worried about it. I really don't care. I mean, unless you're like a fan of one of these teams that really doesn't have the revenue or hasn't shown in the past that they actually, you know, go deep into their pockets to pay people, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, if you're like a Dallas team, or if you're like my Philadelphia Eagles, any of the big name teams out there that can write checks basically whenever they want to and not worry about it, I don't think it's that big of an issue.
Well, one of the things I do like about this is Tua got this deal after not holding out of training camp, goes to the first 2 days of it. I don't know about any out. I do know that Dan Marino, in his entire career, his career earnings, $51 million. So just over 1 year, and Tua's going to take over the career
Different
earnings.
time period, though.
Oh, no. I mean,
doubt.
that's absolutely, and that's not even adjusting for inflation either. So, I hate contract talk. I don't know. It's not that I don't know much about it. It's just that they change it up all the time. People enjoy it, so I kind of dabble in it a little bit. But I think it's, you know, which one of us have any accountant jobs or anything like that? And then, yeah, they change it up. Like
that's when you Max and you're talking about stuff.
Right.
He's
but
about
even,
the only person.
Yeah. Even then, though, like to sit there and say, understand it. I mean, maybe he does. But the fact that they could just change things up all the time is, I don't know.
I don't want to say I don't think it's as convoluted as it is, because I mean, you got X amount of dollars at your cap. You know what you already have like on your books and stuff like that. It's just adding and subtracting and just try a way to finagle the numbers and skewing stuff so that you can get what you want, you know?
Take stuff off of your salary and then they write it into your bonus.
Yeah. Like I said, there's always money to pay people. If you're wanting to pay somebody in the NFL, there's no problem in paying people. Salary cap it's really a moot point, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the cap will control like what you can, you know, use up in a year, but as far as paying your players' salaries, you can appease them however you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how many times you see people get fined too, and like they don't pay the fines, the team's paying it for them. Like, it's not like the team's writing the check, but it's like, come on, like they don't facilitate the money to a player sometimes and cover stuff like that. You never heard of anything like that going on?
I mean, maybe there would. I'm sure that there'll be issues like that, but there's also issues where the players are getting fined by the teams.
Yeah, that happens too sometimes. Or sometimes too, they can say they're fining them, and like, how do you know if they're really collecting on that or not? And it's just words. We're not looking at the books.
And now we're just making everything irrelevant.
No, but I'm just still saying
it's
again,
fair.
it's saving face. You know, it's like a lot of times you'll say something because it's the right thing to say. Doesn't mean you're actually doing it.
I will say this, from the podcasts that I've listened to where players are being interviewed, it seems like they pay those fines. And they have to pay for their jerseys. Like, there's a lot of things that we're not privy to, that when you listen to these podcasts and actually listen to these players and it's just like, all right, we think we know a lot about baseball. Then we get a guy like Jay Chapman in here who spent a little time in the league, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I really don't know half as much as I thought. And the way that they manipulate their time service, and we think it's pretty drastic. And then he's like, no, it's even worse than how you feel it is or how you think it is. So yeah, I mean, I was very surprised to find out that they don't just like they got to buy their jerseys. They have to pay for their uniforms. Like, that's always been so wild to me. Is like, you get a new job or whatever, and then they dock your paycheck for your shirts. Like, dude,
they do it some places.
I'm speaking from experience here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't want this stupid shirt. Like, can I show up to work in something that is not this shirt? No. Okay, well, you should be providing that then. Like, I don't need to be spending my money that you're about to pay me to wear your stupid logo.
Or you can go get another job. But I mean, when they're paying you that kind of money too, it's like, you know, I can eat a little bit of this. It's like if you're in construction, you go out. You
look at it,
you gotta have boots, you know, or something.
This is my issue when people like look at the paychecks that these people are getting or whatever, and it's like, all right, yeah, a few of them. Like, a few of the quarterbacks are eating very nice and stuff, but what about, like, the rest of the league? Like, the large amount of the league who is not... their paychecks compared to ours Yes, very nice. But also the taxes that we're paying compared to theirs. And then it's not just starting there at, what state are you in? No, like the jock tax that they got to pay for playing in different states and all that stuff. And then they feel like they're making a lot of money because, the check says $1 million. And then all of a sudden, Aunt Joe, that's 2024 as it gets, Uncle Nick and Aunt Josephine, if you will, like, you know what I'm saying? Or they come asking for a little money, then you feel bad because
look at all the perks too these players get too, man. Like they go out to eat in places and everything's comped and everybody's kissing your rear end and wanting to like throw you flowers and like, come over here and like you can like there's trust me.
Again, you're talking about the upper echelons though.
Even your normal guys, like in a big city like of millions of people can find ways of get benefits from what they're doing. And that's the thing, whether
I think we would be surprised. Like on the unknown football players, which there's a lot more unknown football players than there are well-known football players.
No doubt.
Yeah, and especially like if you're in a place like Green Bay, sure, where like everybody knows everybody, but I'm sure there's a lot of New York Giants and New York Jets who are on the bottom half of that roster, and they go out to a place like New York, and they're just
but there's certain places that they know, like that the fans will frequent, and they can show up, and they'll get recognized, and they'll get love, and they'll get shout outs, and what I'm saying, it's easy for them. Trust me, they know. They're not dumb.
Johnny Yankees, anything to add to this argument?
I agree with him for like starters, but like if you're a backup, no one's seeing your face under that helmet,
Yeah. That's another thing. Like for maybe baseball and basketball, you get recognized a little bit more prevalently because of your face being out there, whereas underneath the helmet and the pads and everything.
It depends on the fandom again, I guess, what town you're in, man. Like I said, in certain towns, man, where sports are big, like I said, Philadelphia, man, do you go out there, people know who's who around town, for the most part. So you go out there, people get recognized. And if you're not recognizing them, somebody else is and saying something, and before you know it, you're saying, oh, yeah, look who's over there. What's all that commotion going on? Who's out over there? Oh, so-and-so. Okay, let's go over there and get an autograph or picture, selfie, whatever.
There you go.
I don't know. I just, like I said, they're doing something that a lot of people would kill people to do. It's something that's like it's their dream to do. They shouldn't complain. I mean, I get it. It's probably not the most ideal situation.
That's how a lot of people look at it.
You could be doing other things.
That's how a lot of people look at it. But at the end of the day, they work their tail off.
Be thankful what you got.
Hey, but that's the same. In my opinion, though, it's like if you're gonna sit there and I'm not saying that you don't. First off, let's clarify that. But if we're gonna sit there and tell professional athletes be thankful for what you got, like look at us, bro. We're Americans. Look at what we're doing right here on a beautiful
what
Friday
I'm doing right
afternoon.
Now, man. This is how I'm getting paid right here. Dude, I'm like, I'm just sitting here and enjoying talking sports with you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not complaining.
Right.
Hey, where's my shirt at, man? That I need to wear. That's getting paid for. And where's my?
I'm giving you a few.
No.
Hand-me-downs from me. And that were hand-me-downs from Coach Manley.
And where's my buffet of food or whatever? Like when you walk into a clubhouse and stuff like that.
It's right over there underneath that yellow roof.
See, that's what I'm screaming though. It's all these
$1.50 for a loaf of bread, $1.50 for some bologna, and you get about 2 or 3 days worth of lunch out of that.
That if you added up all this little bit of money here and there too, like what does that add up to? It's pretty nice.
Depends on what those X and Y numbers are, and then we can get some mathematics rolling. But we'll save that for the next break. You're right with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Taking your calls and texts 850-215-6290.
America's team plays here.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. That's number 10.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida. Charlie Morton, Max Fried, and Chris Sale lead the Braves' dominant pitching rotation.
That's 18 up, 18 down.
Sponsored by Panama City Toyota, LS Agency Insurance, Bestway Portable Buildings, PCB Hobby, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Got him swinging, strike 3.
Good afternoon, this is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Friday. Likely thunderstorms and some sun the rest of the day with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 8 miles per hour and look for it to be 90. Tonight there will be partly cloudy skies and a possibility of thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 80. Partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 89. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Let's see. Diamond stud earrings for Marcy, Bullo Velox for Tommy, tennis bracelets for Kathy, and Keith wants a 14-karat chain. Oh, and Hannah wants those white gold hoop earrings.
Okay, guys, Santa gave me his list. He knows that Tracy's Fine Jewelry has the largest selection and lowest prices you'll find anywhere. We've stopped the cases, slashed the prices, and we're offering a free 6-month layaway on our entire jewelry selection. For a stress-free holiday, Tracy's Fine Jewelry, where Santa shops.
Be here for every huge moment of the Atlanta Braves season as we load up for a run at the division crown.
2-0, and he hits one high in the air towards deep right center, to the wall, and it ain't sticking around. It's a 3-run home run.
Tonight, the battle for the East hits the road to New York as Austin Riley and the Braves take on division rivals, the New York Mets, at Citi Field.
Coverage coming up at 6, first pitch at 6:10 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
You think you've been on your grind? The 11-year-old cashier at the Gin Gin puts in more hours than you.
Do any of you people do any actual work?
Just saying.
We might need to work on your sales pitch.
Less work and more play.
All right, show's over. Everybody back to work.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're back in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick, Johnny Yankee Seed, and the Bone Crusher. Lots of nicknames and then one real name. I love it, man. 850-215-6290 is the number to call or text. The Atlanta Braves tonight. Coverage starts after the Afternoon Underdogs at 6 o'clock. First pitch tonight at 6:10. Charlie Morton, Uncle Charlie, going for the Braves tonight. He's going up against Kodai Senga, who is making his debut, his 2024 debut this evening against the Braves. And then tomorrow, coverage starts 1:55, first pitch 3:10. And then on Sunday, 11:25, the coverage will start in the morning, 12:40 for the first pitch. Y'all want to talk NBA? And the deal, maybe the betrayal, if you will, of the NBA over TNT, or do y'all want to get into some of the trades that's happened to this point?
Trades what, in baseball?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's talk about the NBA for a quick second.
All right, yeah,
Let's go
because
over this is kind of a big deal for the weekend.
It kind of intrigued me yesterday. I believe it was end of the show when it started popping off. Didn't have an opportunity to go home and read the article until after the flag football game yesterday evening. So the Warner Brothers Discovery, essentially TNT, they filed a lawsuit against the NBA. This was they filed the lawsuit today, alleging that the league breached its contract by declining its offer for a new media rights deal and instead signing with Amazon. So essentially what happened is Amazon put out a, 11-year, $2 billion contract, and TNT, Warner Brothers Discovery, had an opportunity to match that. They did match that, and the NBA said, no, we're going to go with Amazon anyways. But the Warner Brothers Discovery had that in their contract. So the lawsuit was filed in a New York Supreme Court, and the NBA's got 20 days to respond. Charles Barkley said clearly the NBA had wanted to break up with us from the beginning. I'm not sure TNT ever had a chance. TNT matched the money, but the league knows Amazon and these tech companies are the only ones willing to pay for the rights when they double in the future. The NBA didn't want to tick them off. It's a sad day when owners and commissioners choose money over their fans. It just sucks. I'm surprised at this, man, as much as TNT is almost synonymous at this point with basketball, especially when you talk about that show Inside the NBA. I've seen a litany of other shows on ESPN. Name the channel. I've probably seen it. Nothing has ever come close to what Inside the NBA does and it's really just a twice a week show at that point, right? And you can get so much knowledge from Charles Barkley, from Shaq. You get characters from those guys that are just authentic, and human beings can relate to them, and that's what makes the show so good, is the authenticity of them, the realness, the way that they're not gonna keep their mouth shut on things that they feel strongly about. And sometimes maybe the network doesn't like that, but I know we as people enjoy seeing the realness behind all of it. So where are you at on this, Caveman Rick?
It's kind of a sad thing, for the NBA fans out there, I would think. I guess it's within their right, if they will. I mean, depending on how this is written up, to do what they're doing. It kind of sounds to me like in the way the hockey world works, how unrestricted free agents are. We have you can make a qualifying offer to a guy on your team, and then somebody else can try to match that offer, or go higher. And if they match it, then they might you can match it and keep the player, or if not, the player walks and goes to the other team.
Right.
So in a way, this is kind of sounds a little bit like this is what's going on. But if the monies are equal and they just matched it, I would say you would probably be smart anyways to stay with the platform that you already have, that's already established, that you already have like a fan base that's already kind of well known. But like you're saying about these tech companies, with all the money that's that they're able to produce and what they're able to spend here in the future, they're probably more viable, like an Amazon is, unfortunately, than some of these TV companies. We've seen like what's going on with Bally Sports and whatnot. Even though TNT is a way bigger network, they're not bigger than Amazon, unfortunately, And I think that's what it comes down to, is dollars and cents and power. And right now the tech companies are the big dogs out there with all the money, pulling all the strings. I mean, we're seeing how like Amazon is getting games. You got Apple getting games and stuff like that, and delving into this kind of world because they know this is a big money maker. They're finally being able to dip their paws into it with the cable systems kind of going away and all these streaming services. So, I mean, it's smart on their end, right? This is a big money maker for them. It's just business. It's capitalism at its finest in a way, and it's pretty cutthroat, and that's the way business and big corporate world usually does stuff.
Well, I hope that it does get to the Supreme Court, and they're like, no, like you have to go with what the contract states, which is if TNT is going to match that, then you're going to stick with that. Because, and maybe TNT could work with Amazon the same way that ESPN is working with TNT and letting them get some of the college football playoff games. Like, let's get everyone happy here. Let Amazon dip their toes into it, if you will. Maybe, figure out a way for them to get a few games throughout the year, or do your main broadcast on TNT, and then a Manning type cast, a stat type cast on Amazon. Because God forbid that these games just strictly go to Amazon, because then you have to have the whole Amazon Prime, or the Amazon account, get the Amazon Prime, all of that good junk, just to watch some basketball games. And quite frankly, Al Michaels gets a pass because of how long he's been doing it. But the broadcast for Thursday Night Football, not a huge fan. And the litany of names that they have as their analysts on the show: Tony Gonzalez, Richard Sherman. I mean, they've got some, I think it's Tony Gonzalez that's on with them.
Yeah. Wentworth is on there from the Rams.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, I mean, they've got great names on there, but it's still, I don't know if it's just because I haven't gotten used to it, but it's just not as good, in my opinion, as some of the other shows, which is neither here nor there. There's probably plenty of people out there who really like it, but the fact that it's so hard, like, to be able to watch these games, when used to, you could have your bunny ears sitting up on a TV somewhere and be able to watch football, watch basketball, which, I mean, even on TNT, you're not going to be able to put up your bunny ears and be able to watch that.
Back in those days, it was tape delay, too.
Yeah, there you go. So, I don't know. I know that that's the direction everywhere is moving, but and here's another thing TNT and the NBA could compromise on: the length of the deal. All right, so you want to move towards Amazon. Well, give TNT at least 5-6 years, and then merge it in to Amazon at that point. I think there's a whole bunch of different ways that you could do, but again, when everything is all about the almighty dollar, it's going to skew the way people think about
Why
things.
can't you divide it up too? I mean, have some on TNT, some on Amazon. You can do that as well. I mean, not every basketball game is always like on like ABC. There's some like on, other networks like CBS and stuff. So, I just think there's enough variety, enough networks and stuff to go around. Why don't you just divvy it up?
What basketball games you seen on CBS?
In the past before there was
back in the day. But that's,
I know like how stuff's going now, and I'm just saying if you had it like that point at one point in time and you were able to do stuff, why can't you do it nowadays?
Well, you won't be seeing any SEC games on the CBS this year.
Monopoly.
You'll be seeing Big Ten.
Like monopolies are supposed to be like, not a thing, right? But it's like you kind of see how they kind of circumvent stuff, and it's still kind of a monopoly in some ways the way they do these things.
Bro, I mean, there's a monopoly in. You know this better than I do, but we go through the grocery store, we're seeing all of these different brands, but then when you see...
There's really 4 companies that make everything.
Exactly. It's like we've been living our whole life underneath a monopoly, but just been lied to by
my full-time
flashy
job
colors.
is in car parts, right? And so in car parts, man, there's like wheel bearings. There's probably 2 companies in the whole world that make all the wheel bearings for everybody, for every company, and just put in a different box with a different stamp and a different sticker, and that's it. It's all made by the same people pretty much. So
we've been duped.
That's it, man. You have the illusion of having variety in your life when you really don't, and like a lot of choices when you really don't.
Sadly though, the consistency does line up with it being a variety though, right? It's like all right, just go to generic chips compared to the on-brand chips. It's like, well, this does taste better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All I'm talking about is how about like what we're doing in general. I don't want to get off on a tangent off of sports, but look at the food that you eat.
We're running out of time on our tangents.
Like Italian type stuff. Okay, so most stuff is like red sauce, and it's like a noodle with like some meat and like some cheese, right?
Yeah.
So regardless if it's pizza, if it's pasta, if it's lasagna, if it's just whatever, it's the same like 4 like basically or 5 ingredients, just prepared a little differently, and it's like called something else, but it's basically you're eating the same thing, really for the most part.
Right on.
It's the illusion of variety,
The illusion of variety. Learning about that here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And sports is giving you the same thing, right? The illusion of variety. But honestly, you're just paying a little bit more. Cut the cord? Heck yeah, let's do that. Now you're going to pay 4 times more for your cable.
Yeah,
Way to go.
People need to stop asking for more stuff. Just like leave it alone, man. The more you ask for it, the more in the end you're going to end up paying for it.
Yeah, we need to change the national anthem to that song.
I'm sorry for griping all those years about like cable companies and wishing I could just pick what channels I would want, because now I regret it now. Should have just shut my mouth and just paid one bill, and we'd probably be a lot better off.
And you're right about the chips, David. I mean, I am waiting for science to make a generic Dorito. You can't. I've tried every generic Dorito. There's nothing as good as Doritos.
Doritos has got that patent on it. They're like, man, if something even does come close, remotely close to tasting as good as our chip, to have it as crisp of a bite as our chip, we're coming after you.
Come on, science.
I will say though, at the Czech brand, their generic Pringles were not bad. Yeah, so, and most of those are turning into Aldi's, so we'll give Aldi's a little free plug. Just make sure you bring the quarterback. Make sure you bring, or get your quarterback, rather.
Put the buggy back,
Put the buggy back, get your quarterback. Bring it on down to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're starting a savings funds for grocery carts
when you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, though, them shopping carts, I remember like when I worked at a grocery store back in the late 90s, and we got like a whole, all of them replaced. And, somebody was being rough with them in the store, like worked there. And the manager came over, oh my God, what are you guys doing? Those things cost it was like it was like $900 a piece or something like that. We're like, get out of here. $900 a piece times however many. So if you look at that, like say, you see like homeless people, like bag ladies and stuff on the side of the road, hate to go down here, but they have like a cart, right? And so a quarter.
You hate to talk.
Well, here's the deal though, for a deposit, okay? So for something that costs like $900, $1,000, just to put a quarter down for a deposit, and then if you take it and leave with it, like that's not a bad.
Made out like a bandit.
That's not a bad trade-off, is what I'm trying to say.
Go scrap that thing.
You could if you took it in the back of a pickup truck and you drove it to scrap it.
I think
at a quarter a piece, you'd make money. You could make money.
How many shopping carts has Caveman Rick stolen from homeless people?
I haven't stolen any, but I've thought about
from homeless people.
No, not from homeless people.
That's secondhand stealing. That's okay.
Yeah, no doubt. They stole it first, and then I just stole it back. It's like
I stole it back to give it back. I'm the Robin Hood grocery store.
I'm going to return this to the grocery store and get that quarter.
Yeah. There was a guy who actually, works around here, and he's always going around to the Aldis, and if he sees any carts out there in the parking lot, he pulls in, and he goes
to the quarter.
Yeah, goes and pushes that cart right up there, man. So
people think he's crazy, but he's probably got $1 million sitting in the bank.
$1 million? I
don't know. You've seen some people like that, man. You think, man, like this person's like, like off their rocker, or something like that, doing things like that. And then you find out they croak or something, and they got like all this money sitting around. They're trying to find the next of kin. And it's like, well, that's what they were doing all that time.
That is what they were doing. We're going to take a quick time out. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. Hey, call or text us 850-215-6290. We'll be right back.
America's team plays here.
And a rocket to right field. This thing is into orbit.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida. Acuna, Ozzie, and Austin Riley lead the Braves' high-powered offense.
Swung on, belted, deep right field. Get out of here, Ozzie. Home run. Ball game.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Brock's Pest Control. Store more portable buildings, reliable hydraulic solutions. Billberg Kia and Mid-South Lumber.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Friday. Likely thunderstorms and some sun the rest of the day with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 8 miles per hour, and look for it to be 90. Tonight, there will be partly cloudy skies and a possibility of thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 80. Partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 89. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products, so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live.
They say it can't be done.
I'm going to do what they say can't be done.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida is going to be presenting the week of winning. I'm going to start this a little early. It won't be next week, but this is the following week, starting August 6th. Chop on, Atlanta Braves fans. We're giving away family 4-packets of tickets to experience the Atlanta Braves at Truist Park during the week of winning. The game night is going to be Saturday night, August 24th versus Washington Nationals. So for those of you who are participating in the fantasy draft, you might not want to win this, but if you do, it's okay because I've got a waiting list already prepped up and ready to go. So when we give you the cue to call, be caller number 10, 850-215-6290, and give us the phrase that pays, chop on. Atlanta Braves week of winning on ESPN Northwest Florida, sponsored by PCB Hobby, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas Drive, and Home 2 Suites. Caveman Rick, is Kellen Moore, I need you to go, buddy, is Kellen Moore the cure-all?
I'm going to hope so. I mean, the dude's pretty offensive minded. We've seen what he did when he was at Boise State. He was a great quarterback over in Dallas. I don't want to say a lot of their woes were akin to him. I think Mike McCarthy being the head coach, I think he might have kind of skewed things and might have controlled things a little bit more, especially this last season, wanting to take over a little bit more of the offense. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what is going to happen there. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, though, being the fact that Well, he hasn't won nothing really, so this would be maybe the first time he actually does have a chance of doing something like that. I'm actually not
won a pretty big bowl game with Boise State back. Oh, no, actually, I don't even know.
Maybe it was, but I mean, wasn't he part of the team too? Where like when they won that game, was it the kicker that proposed to the cheerleader after what was it?
That happens all the time though.
The 0-1, yeah, but that was that big game though. Shoot, I'm trying to think of who they
Georgia,
played.
Right? Or was it Oklahoma? With the Statue of Liberty,
the Statue of Liberty play.
Oklahoma.
That was the Oklahoma game.
I was in West Virginia for a snowboarding trip for that.
I was trying to think of what it was, but yes, it was a Statue of Liberty play game, I believe. Yes, that was pretty cool.
Was he there in 2001?
I believe he was. I believe he was, man.
He's only 36 years old. That makes me feel really old, bro.
So yeah, I'm interested to see what he can do with Saquon
through 2013.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we can do with Saquon Barkley. We're actually spending some money on a running back for the first time in quite a while. That's going to be kind of interesting, and we're going to like how maybe we use him or utilize him with a brotherly shove, saving up Jalen Hurts so maybe he doesn't get hurt. I'm interested to see how he's going to utilize, our outside weapons, wide receivers, tight ends, and such like that. I think he's got more weapons and a lot more, firepower in Philadelphia than he had with Dallas. So I'm going to, be kind of curious to see if he's going to go all out, take the reins off, and just kind of like let us just shoot first and ask questions later. I just want to see him just go for it, and hopefully that's going to be the case.
So the Boise State Oklahoma game was 2007, and it wasn't Kellen Moore there either. It was Jared Zabransky, which I remember that name now. But yeah, that's still feels like a very long time
ago. Myself making me feel old.
Yeah, no doubt. And Georgia and Boise State, that was in 2011, but that wasn't the bowl game though. That was a regular season. Boise State getting the better of Georgia there in 2011 as well, 35-21. What about for you, Johnny Yankee Seed? What do you think that Kellen Moore coming over to the Eagles is going to be that big of a deal? Do you think it changes their offense dramatically?
I don't think so. I think it's a well-oiled machine at this point. Yeah. It's going to keep flowing.
They were for the first 11 games of the season last year.
I do not hope the best for Snakewan. Yeah. I hope you get everything we got from him in New York, which is lots of trips to the injury list.
Yeah, I hope not. That's the one thing I got to worry about.
I mean, I think that Saquon Barkley, on paper, the same way that Derrick Henry makes that Baltimore Ravens offense look like they take 2 or 3 steps ahead, same way with Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. And the offensive line, I mean, I think Saquon's in a much better position here. No offense to the Giants, but you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. The offensive line that has Daniel Jones running for his life and tripping over his own feet. Go ahead.
Vastly improved offensive line.
Not only that, too, he's not the only weapon. With the Giants, he was basically, public enemy number 1 against whoever you're playing.
Yeah, he was, what's the snake is, a snake in the grass. So that's why you don't like him. So I guess he was Gazelle 1.
He could have went anywhere else, man. Anywhere else.
It's like Johnny Damon going from the Sox to the Yanks,
Cowboys, though?
No, but there was rumor of the Texans. All right. I would have been happy for him, ecstatic, if he went and got his bag.
I would have been so not mad at Saquon, but all right, they got Joe Mixon, right, and that seeming to be a big deal. Could you imagine that the 2 biggest acquisitions in the offseason, which you could argue that on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, with Stephon Diggs, I think they got one of, if not the biggest, free agent acquisitions or offseason acquisitions on the offensive side of the ball. Then on the defensive side of the ball, they got Danielle Hunter, who was with the Minnesota Vikings last year.
We topped that one.
With Brian Burns.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you that. And man, did you hear that soundbite of essentially when y'all's general manager found out? Is y'all's general manager Shane?
Yeah, Joe Shane.
Yeah, Joe Shane. When he found out that, I forget what 2 teams, there was like a group of general managers. It was at the Senior Bowl, and they were sitting there talking, and that's when he figured, we might be able to get Brian Burns for, what was it, 2 first-round picks?
Yes. No, it was 2 second-round picks.
2 second?
Yeah. I think it was a 5th as well, and like a future 5th.
Oh, man, and there's just something about that defensive front, historically speaking, for the Giants, that, man, he might could go there and make some noise. But, yeah, with the Philadelphia Eagles specifically here and Saquon Barkley, like you mentioned, with them having so many weapons, he doesn't have to be utilized as much. He does have to be a workhorse of sorts, but it doesn't all fall on his shoulders. And with that, if A.J. Brown just gets his head out of his rear end, and what I mean by that is, dude is athletically gifted, but when you're not getting targeted and you're making issues on the sideline with your quarterback Jalen Hurts, and week in and week out we don't know what your relationship is like with the team, does he want to trade, all of these kind of things, be a teammate, buy into the Philadelphia Eagles just like you did in year one, and you make that team exponentially more dangerous. Right? And Devontae Smith, I mean, quiet as a church mouse, right? So you've got everything set up there. Now, it is going to be interesting to see how the offensive front, how the line does without the anchor there, the true anchor. Now, we know that you guys got guys in there that fill in that position and have been grooming guys, essentially, to take over the center spot, because it's not news. It's not breaking news that Jason Kelce was going to be retiring, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
But it is going to be different having someone else anchoring that offensive line.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like, it's going to be different not having an all-pro, like, Hall of Fame center like a Jason Kelce. Yeah, definitely, on that offensive line. That's definitely a huge, huge loss. But like you said, we knew it was coming. We got guys to replace them. We have other weapons too, so we don't necessarily we take the pressure off of the offensive line. We don't have to worry about I don't want to say so much protection, but Jalen Hurts is mobile. We got a lot of weapons. Got a good 3-down back in Saquon Barkley, as long as he can stay healthy, which is something that we kind of lacked. A lot of our running backs, you couldn't say we're bona fide 3-down backs.
Yeah.
This is a guy on 3rd down you're going to really have to watch out for, especially when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts that can, run that RPO kind of offense. It can get kind of nasty for you matchup wise. So I'm going to really, like I said again with the Kellen Moore thing, see kind of how he kind of utilizes the weapons that we have, and I want him to see him not hold back. Like I said, I want to take the reins off, man, just go and full speed ahead and see what happens, because after last season, I just want us to be like a dangerous team. I want us to be like one of those kinds of teams that early in the game jump out to a good lead, not having to worry about trying to come back or trying to start that offense and kind of get in a rhythm. I'd rather us just kind of come out like gangbusters, man, and then just kind of go from there and let that defense just kind of hold things tight, run the ball, and just run the clock out on teams.
Do y'all have a back that can just punch it, just go forward and get it?
Right now, I would say probably not necessarily, as far as like a bruising, like running back that's just going to bowl people over like a Jerome Bettis or something like that.
Saquon's going to frustrate you a little bit sometimes. He has a tendency to dance behind that line a little bit too much.
And run like a little east-west instead of north-south.
I don't think it's going to affect you in the lower games, but when you play someone like the Niners, that dance is going to get too pretty.
But then again, too, when you don't have that great of an offensive line, you can't hit the hole and you can't make it through the hole, you probably don't have as much confidence, so you're probably running to the sidelines and trying to make that cut instead of going through and trying to get to the second level.
I would agree with you, but when they would spell him with the backup in New York, that guy just seemed to go get us 1 or 2 yards. Just stop dancing. We know what this is. It's garbage. Let's just go forward.
Get the garbage. Come on, man. Be a garbage man.
We'll see. Like I said, it's a new offense for him too. So he's going to have his way of his wanting to run the ball on his field. But then again, when you have an offensive mind like a Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni, they're going to have their way that they're wanting to run stuff. And ultimately, they're probably going to have him do what they want him to do first and see what happens afterwards. But he can definitely improv and make stuff happen, make plays off schedule.
So the backup running back is Kenneth Gainwell. We know that's a speedster. Third string quarterback, running back is Will Shipley out of Clemson. That was y'all's 4th round draft pick this year. He's a little bit more of a power back. And then there's another guy out of Central Michigan who's going to be your 4th stringer. But this guy's 5'10", 220 pounds. Lou Nichols out of Central Michigan. He might be that guy that gets you those 1 or 2 yards.
I don't know. Running backs right now, the way teams utilize and don't utilize running backs after first 1 or 2 guys, I'm not putting much stock in what I got until I see what I have on the field.
Yeah, you don't got to put stock in them, but I mean, you're with exactly what you just said is why all 4 running backs on your depth chart are kind of important to a degree.
I don't want us to have to do that, though. Too much of that running back by committee. I'd like us to have maybe just 2 guys that we utilize the majority of the season, and that's it.
It's like the league is following the command of the Washington Commanders and how they use their running backs. Which, I mean, Austin Eckler, we've got another question set aside for the Commanders, but How are we feeling about Austin Eckler going into the league or going into the season this year? He was with the Chargers last year, kind of took a big step back, especially in the fantasy world, which is where Eckler was so popular in. Not necessarily looking for a career resurgence, but where are we seeing him on the depth chart? Where do you guys think? Like, let's not say going into the season. I think that is Brian Robinson Jr., and then you'll have Austin Eckler there. But where does he finish? Like halfway through the season, are people like, man, we had Austin Eckler pegged wrong? What do you guys think?
I think he should be the third down guy for now. Last year, I know he looked slow at points. The injuries mounted up. I think maybe he's had a little too much tread on the tire is gone, you know what I mean? So I think Brian Robinson should be the first and second down guy, and then give him the third down because we know what he can do receiving.
Right now, obviously this doesn't mean anything, but Austin Eckler is number 1 on the depth chart, Brian Robinson Jr. 2, Chris Rodriguez Jr. out of Kentucky coming in 3rd, and then Jerry McNichols in 4th right there.
Yeah, I don't know. With Austin Eckler, the last couple seasons, not the greatest of production. Like you said, good fantasy guy, putting up some numbers like that. But as far as consistency, staying healthy, I kind of got to worry about that. I don't want to say that the division that he's going to is going to be tougher. I mean, the AFC West was kind of, a difficult division as well. But typically NFC East is a pretty bruising division. A lot of like black and blue type games, a lot of, hate between a lot of those teams. So, there's a lot of hard hitting. You got to, stay healthy. A lot of, it's not SoCal too. You're going up to the Northeast where it's going to be colder in the wintertime, more like, inclement weather. So he's going to have to deal with that. It's not something he's like probably 100% used to. So.
There you go, man. We're going to keep it rolling with these 4 big questions for the NFC East. I got a question for you guys about the quarterbacks of the Commanders and how many they might use when we get back. Hour number 2 coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida, available on all your devices.
Connected.
Hear your favorite sports talk hosts.
On the Coach James Hale Show. You're listening to Inside Drive live.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
And your favorite teams.
Braves win it!
We're live on the app. Tune in, Alexa, ESPNPC.com, Facebook, YouTube, and in your car at 101.9 and 104.3. Wherever you go, there we are. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Friday. Likely thunderstorms and some sun the rest of the day with a gentle breeze coming out of the south at 8 miles per hour, and look for it to be 90. Tonight, there will be partly cloudy skies and a possibility of thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 80. Partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 89. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here's a great idea. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program and we'll come and remove your car for free. Fast, free towing, and 24-hour response. You can donate most cars, trucks, or SUVs in most conditions. The proceeds raised goes to help active military, veterans, and their families, and you get a tax deduction. All you need to do is make this free call. Get rid of that old car and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Operators are standing by. Here's the number.
800-932-1176. 800-932-1176. 800-932-1176. That's 800-932-1176.
Be here for every huge moment of the Atlanta Braves season as we load up for a run at the division crown.
2-0, and he hits one high in the air towards deep right center to the wall, and it ain't sticking around. It's a 3-run home run.
Tonight, the battle for the East hits the road to New York as Austin Riley and the Braves take on division rivals, the New York Mets, at Citi Field.
Coverage coming up at 6. First pitch at 6:10 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hour Hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, the frequency of 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Also streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch, all at ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget about the app. You can go grab that at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Just type in 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Take us with you wherever it is that should go. The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida, brought to you by Brock's Pest Control. Store more affordable buildings, Bill Bird, Kia, Mid-South Lumber, and by PCB Hobby. And we will be live tonight. 6 o'clock cover starts for a 6:10 first pitch. Uncle Charlie on the bump for the Braves. We left off talking about 4 big questions in the NFC East. We talked about Kellen Moore. Is he the cure-all for the Philadelphia Eagles? I think that's a TBD, like most college game times on the schedule to this point. And then we talked a little bit about the Commanders. I asked you guys a question about Austin Eckler. Like, will he be the guy? He is number 1 on the depth chart. I think that you get a good influx this year, Brian Robinson Jr., but I love Johnny Yankee Seed's take there. Being the third down back, I think that he adds another element for Jaden Daniels, a little safety blanket there in the receiving game if he can get back to that. Also, looking at their quarterbacks on the roster, Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, Jeff Driscoll, and Sam Hartman. I think we see all 4 of these guys this year. I think we see all 4 of them because Jaden Daniels is going to start. He is a mobile quarterback. With that being said, if he is not already ready mentally to be sliding, to be protecting himself, he has already got a higher tendency, a higher propensity to become injured. Then Marcus Mariota, we know that that's not going to work out for long, right? Like, unless maybe a career resurgence if he gets the opportunity. And I'm not wishing this on Jaden Daniels. I wish him all the success. You know, I hope that he's a successful quarterback. I think getting young guns in the league, having another story like C.J. Stroud would be absolutely amazing. Just the reality of it. Then Jeff Driscoll, we saw him splitting time with Houston Texans quarterback a couple of years ago. I think 2 years ago they were splitting time down the stretch there, and then maybe they want to see what they got out of the kid from Notre Dame or Wake Forest and Notre Dame, Sam Hartman. How many quarterbacks do you guys think that the Commanders utilize this year? And Caveman, you're a guy who thinks that the league is moving, especially when we get to an 18-game season, that you're going to be seeing on average 2 to 3 quarterbacks used throughout the year.
Yeah, I'd hate to say they're going to use them all like you are. You know, it's probably not a good thing for a team to go through 4, quarterbacks. Well, not probably, but it is. I would think you don't want to start with Jaden Daniels if you can. I would try to say, Marcus Mariota, start with a guy that's a bit of a veteran, a guy that's been there. You got, all kind of brand new stuff going on with that franchise and that team. I think a little stability, a little, I don't want to say sureness, but a little, like I said, a little stability, a little bit of like reassuredness of knowing somebody that's done it before you go out there and throwing a rookie out there. Not to mention, if he is able to go out there and like lay an egg, then you might be hurting his confidence for down the road. Slowly throwing him in there. I was going to try to take a look at their schedule right now, and I didn't pull it up good. I pulled up, I guess, maybe the season before, and just see a good spot maybe where to pull and put him in there. And but I would try not to start him if you could. I mean, if he wins the battle, in preseason with the rest of the quarterbacks, then I guess you have no other option, right? You did spend a lot of them in the draft in order to get them, but ultimately, I would think the best bet is to have him sit a little bit, even if it's begun a guy like Marcus Mariota that's not the most stellar quarterback, but has had some experience.
And their play styles are the same. And I don't mean to throw any shade on Marcus Mariota. As a guy, as a Titans fan, I really liked what he was able to do for our franchise. And, he had one of the most memorable catches of all time, catching his own touchdown pass. They start the season out on the road, taking on the Buccaneers. Then they get straight into some NFC East play, taking on the Giants in Washington. Then they go on the road, taking on the Bengals, Cardinals, back home against the Browns. Then they've got the Ravens at the house. They're on the road taking on the Ravens. Then they've got the Panthers at the house, Bears at the house, on the road again for their second date with the Giants. Then they get the Steelers at the house, on the road taking on the Eagles. They get the Cowboys at the house, Titans at the house, on the road to take on the Saints, back home with Philly, back home with Atlanta, and then they finish out the season taking on the Dallas Cowboys January 5th to round out the season. So
looks like they got a late bye too. It looks like it's after the Titans game, after December 1st is when their bye is.
Ooh, that is a late bye too.
So I was going to say, depending on when the bye is, sometimes that's a good spot to maybe like insert a new quarterback after you got like that 2 weeks off. That would be pretty late though to have a guy like Mariota start and then throw a guy like Jaden Daniels out there. But if you can have a guy like Mariota start, be serviceable, win you maybe half your games going that deep, that might be a good time to maybe throw somebody new in there and just have him finish out the season if you wanted to see what you had in the kid, if Mariota can kind of hold the fort down. But that remains to be seen, right?
Johnny Yankee, do you think that the Commanders are in a position where they have to start Jaden Daniels?
Yes. You can't draft a guy that high, and if he's healthy, he's got to go.
Not even what if you feel like, or what if he doesn't necessarily, what if the race is closer between him and Marcus Mariota? What if he doesn't separate himself?
We know what Marcus Mariota is.
Yeah.
If it's close, you got to give it to him.
He's a flying Hawaiian, baby.
Yeah, you got to give it to Daniels, I think, because if they're close, you need him to grow for the future. He has all the weapons around him to succeed right now. So let's go. John Blair.
I'm with you too, that, and I hate this because I think that the best route for quarterbacks is taking, I don't care if you're the first overall pick, second pick. Now, CJ Stroud last year was kind of a rule to the exception, or an exception to the rule, if you will. But I think that having guys sit behind someone is the way to go. I also think all of this hype and everything around the Houston Texans, I think that the reality is real with CJ Stroud. He is a good quarterback. I think we see a little bit of a sophomore slump because it's hard. How do you match those numbers up?
You can't.
Exactly.
And now,
it's
you
Matt
got
Olson, if you will, with the Atlanta Braves.
And now you got a target on your back. Nobody expected this out of that team last year.
Now there's tape.
Now there's expectations. Now, you're going into the season. You're not playing with house money. People are going to expect wins out of you. The pressure's on. It's not going to be the same as it was last year. You had a rookie head coach last year as well now. Now you're more established, too. He could have rolled the dice a little bit more last year being a rookie coach, too. Now you got that, that past success. You got those expectations. You're probably going to temper things, hold back a little bit, not play as free. So because of this, I think across the board that team's going to take a step back.
Man, it's going to be. I think the defense is on paper.
They're too young.
On paper, well, I think that they added a little bit of veteranship there across the board. D'Amico Ryans is the defensive guy in the first place, which made it wild to me how wildly successful they were on the offensive side of the ball last year. And I don't know how big of an ad Joe Mixon is. Like, you know what I mean? With the injuries that in last year wasn't as injured as what he's been kind of in the past. But I'm curious as to how good that move is going to be for the Texans. And I think that the AFC South is a tighter division than what people are going into the season expecting because of how good the Houston Texans were last year. So a little bit of regression in my mind. And also, I think that the Indianapolis Colts take a huge step forward. As much as I hate to say, I think the Titans too. The Jaguars, I see them kind of being more stagnant, especially Trevor Lawrence got the bag, doesn't really have much to prove there. Brian Thomas, I really like that pickup out of LSU. I don't know how I feel about their wide receiving core, especially losing Calvin Ridley. Is Evan Ingram going to be able to replicate the success that he had last year? Because how long have been? You of all people have been waiting on Evan Ingram.
I'd say watch out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. Like when that team doesn't have those expectations, that's when you see them like almost beat the Patriots going to the Super Bowl back in 2017.
Yeah,
and then they had them in the first half of that game in the AFC Championship game.
Not gonna lie, they had us in the first half.
We had them, knew where they were, let them off the hook.
Yeah, man. Blake Bortles, too, of all people, which, if you look at Trevor Lawrence's first half numbers, or not first half numbers to the same amount of starts that Blake Bortles has had, they're eerily similar, which is not the greatest thing, but hey, what'd you just mention? Blake Bortles did take those Jacksonville Jaguars to the AFC Championship. Getting close there. So, yeah, I think that the AFC South across the board could be a tighter division than what people are expecting, but I do expect some regression of some sort with the Houston Texans. If not, hey, C.J. Stroud, if he can get an AFC, but look, we saw out of Joe Burrow an AFC Championship and a Super Bowl appearance very early in his career, and what's happened since then because of the injuries, so lots of things lots of ingredients to watch bake inside of this NFL cake here. How about the New York Giants? Do you think that Malik Neighbors, this will start off with you, Johnny Yankee C. Do you think that Malik Neighbors saves the career, saves the tenure of Daniel Jones with the New York Football Giants?
I don't know about save him, but I've already seen in the practices that the crazy throws, the crazy catches, it's already looking nice. So I think he's going to extend his life a little bit, but this is still it. Like, if he can't get it done this year, he's got to go.
Yeah.
And what's
Who goes
getting
first?
it done?
Daniel Jones or Brian Daboll?
Daniel Jones for sure. Like
that's one of the rare situations, right? But I guess that's because Daniel Jones was there before. Right.
The only reason Dabes would be on the hot seat is if Belichick's out there. I know
and Belly's going to be out there.
He's always said he wanted to coach them. And
Well, he was a coordinator for Bill Parcells back in the 80s.
Yes.
So,
And
he does good things with blue and red.
I'm not a massive fan of Mara, but Mara tends to make some crazy moves, and I could see that one, but I don't think they should do anything with Dabes. I think he's an offensive genius and a quarterback guru.
Yeah. I mean, we really saw Josh Allen kind of take it to the next level in that first year with Daboll and with Daniel Jones. We saw him really accelerate.
Has he done stuff at Bama?
He did, yeah. I mean, he was... I would say he was one of the more popular, and it's hard to stay popular as a coordinator. You have to leave on a high note to stay popular as a coordinator at Bama, and he did just that.
You guys got a problem, though. Weak quarterback class coming out this next year out of the college ranks, and then, I mean, if you don't want to stay with them, then who are you going to find, like, in free agency? I mean, you don't have a whole lot of options,
You bring in Belichick, and Tom Brady doesn't like commentating, and then boom, there you go, boy. 50-year-old Tom. I'm just being highly facetious.
I don't know. I'm saying, do you think he'd want to go and play for the team that beat him a couple times in the Super Bowl? I highly doubt that.
I got sick at that thought, to be honest. I don't want to see him.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to step foot on that field again or put on that jersey or anything green.
Eli Manning becomes the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that would be wild. What about you, though? Do you think that Malik Neighbors was my favorite wide receiver coming out of this draft here? Of course, all of the hype around Marvin Harrison Jr., but I really like what Malik Neighbors brings to the table. What do you think?
Sure.
Do you think
hell of a talented wide receiver, but I don't see it translating a whole lot with the Giants because there's not enough other weapons there. He's going to be, again, he's got a target on his back. He's going to be the guy a lot of D coordinators are going to look at shutting down. He's going to get double teamed a lot of these games. Something that, in college you've probably seen a lot too. But again, it wasn't in the NFL. This was college type players, right? You got pros now that are going to be, bearing down on you and trying to make sure you don't catch balls out there. So because of that, I would say I'd preference that with no, it's not going to probably be that great for these guys. Daniel Jones is probably on his last leg on his way out. He said Brian Daboll.
No pun intended there from K-Man Rick. And if Daniel Jones had a baby, he'd kick that thing.
And we know he's got legs, man. Dude runs 22, 23 miles an hour, right? Until he trips up on himself, over like the 30-yard line, say. But I don't see it again, unfortunately, man. I mean, I like it being an Eagles fan. Sorry, Johnny Yankee, but unfortunately, just not enough there. I mean, if you had more, like you say, you had Saquon there and you had some other weapons there, then I'd say, hell yeah, this could be a scary offense.
You kidding me? We have Devin Singletary. He put up the same numbers as Saquon last year.
Oh, yeah?
He did. No. But back to Malik. I think he's going to translate very well. Right now, we've got Deonte Banks covering him. He did very well as a corner last year. He shut down some guys last year as a rookie, and he's doing well against him in camp. Very well. So,
Quinn Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are going to be like, hey, we'll shut you down, boy.
I mean, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson.
I forgot about Hyatt. Hyatt came onto the scene strong last year. Who's the tight end for you guys? Oh, and y'all still got DiNucci on the roster, right? Or is it no? Who's the backup quarterback?
Cutlets. Yeah, Nicky Cutlets.
Was it?
Yeah, Cutlets.
Yeah, DiNucci.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember his last name, but it's Cutlets. Yeah. Tommy.
Tommy Cutlets. Yeah, Tommy Cutlets. He still lives with his mommy and daddy. He still does his
We got
laundry
Drew
and
Lock
stuff.
as the backup, though.
Oh man, got locked there. All right, that'll be.
We got two tight ends though.
Tommy DeVito,
Yes.
Ben DiNucci. I forget who he's with.
He played with the Cowboys, and then he went to like UFL or whatever. He was playing, or XFL maybe it was.
One of the three.
Yeah.
One of the three. Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Nathan Rourke there.
Still got Slayton at wide
Eric
receiver.
Gray. Eric Gray's y'all's backup running back. He's out of Tennessee. Well, Oklahoma's where he finished up at.
I think we picked a kid up out of Purdue, I believe. That's really quick. Porter, I want to say. Tracy.
Are we talking running back
Yeah,
here?
running back.
Tyrone Tracy Jr.?
Yes.
All right.
And then we got Theo Johnson from Penn State, a tight end.
Okay.
Our Daniel Bellinger's our starter. Slayton is still on this team, who has always put up the same numbers every year.
And you believe in the offensive line this year?
I mean, they went out and got Runyon from the Packers.
Right.
His dad wasn't bad when he played for the Eagles.
Jermaine, how do you say it? Jermaine Elamir from the Raiders.
Elamnor.
Yeah.
Who
We
knows
got
how you
him.
say
I know
it.
Neil's going to start on the pup, so he's going to play right tackle, which might be better. I know they brought in a guy from the Raiders 3 days ago. They didn't say if it's signed or not, but he could be in the mix.
There you go.
JMC at center.
And then the defense does look to be better. And then, Kayvon Thibodeau, that guy's...
Dexy. Dexy.
Yeah.
Dexy sexy, you know? I mean, if you look up him, PFF, his scores are through the roof, and he doesn't get the love he should because Aaron Donald was in the league. Now he's not in the league. Now maybe can we see him shine and take that next level, because I believe pressures on quarterbacks, he is through the roof.
There you go. How about them Dallas Cowboys? This roster does seem to be, for the hype that Jerry Jones created, saying we're going all in this offseason. All in was going back to the future, essentially, right? By going and getting Ezekiel Elliott. Outside of that, what have they really done? It's going to be CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Tolbert, your three main wideouts there. Jake Ferguson's back. He had a great year last year, so that's something to look forward to. Outside of that, what have the Cowboys really done? If you're Dak Prescott, do you even want to re-sign with the Cowboys after this year, pending the results of what happens in the season?
Good, Johnny.
I wouldn't sign him. Not for the money he's going to want, and I wouldn't want to sign there.
Yeah,
it's
let's look at it from the
stagnant.
Dak perspective.
Well, they're going to have to pay some guys like Lamb, Micah. I mean, you don't let Micah leave that
Can't
building.
let Micah.
Oh my goodness.
Is that one of the rare instances where there's a lot of the times your edge rusher is one of your most important pieces to the puzzle? But is this one of the rare instances where Micah Parsons is more important to the success of the Dallas Cowboys more so than the quarterback, a.k.a. Dak Prescott, here in this situation?
I agree with that. I mean, I hope he stays there, because then it'll be the same story every year.
Was Micah Parsons playing in that game last year against the Green Bay Packers?
I want to say yes. Right?
I don't think that he wasn't. I don't think that he wasn't. So with that being said, like that, to me, that was the side of the ball that really let them down, was the defensive side of the ball not being able to stop specifically Aaron Jones. I know Jordan Love's getting a lot of credit, and he deserves the credit. I won't take that away from him. However, Aaron Jones, who really started like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season just coming on so strong, I thought he was a big reason why the Packers were able to defeat the Cowboys.
Yeah, injuries and stuff on that team derailed them somewhat too. We didn't even mention a guy like Trayvon Diggs yet, and the success that he had early in his career. You know
That's very fair.
So I mean, he was out a bunch last year. So if he comes back,
But it didn't look like they skipped a beat during the regular season. Then all of a sudden we're going to give them that as an excuse?
No, I'm not going to give it as an excuse. I'm just throwing that out there as that's part of the reason why maybe they didn't have quite the success they have.
Just another baby to kick.
Yeah, that's it. As always.
That's it.
But yeah, I'll lose my train of thought now. I'm talking about kicking babies.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. But I just they didn't do nothing. They're running mouth. Jerry Jones again sizzles. He wants his name out there for the team. Doesn't really do nothing. Makes bold proclamations. Doesn't make anything happen. It's just status quo as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not disappointed.
Again, if we're asking questions about the NFC East and all of the positive things are around the Philadelphia Eagles and the negative things are around the other team, that'll make any cynic positive.
Anything that they're doing that's going to help my team out, I'm all for.
Absolutely. All right, hey, it's time to talk a little UFC 304. We're going to be doing that with Johnny Yankee Seed. If you guys have any questions or topics or thoughts from the UFC that you'd like Johnny Yankee Seed to give his opinion on, then you can call or text us at 850-215-6290. We'll be right back in a jiff.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. A variety of light sprinkles and some clouds tonight with a wind coming out of the southeast at 2 miles per hour and a low of 80. Tomorrow morning, look for light sprinkles with a temperature near 86. The afternoon and evening, a high around 88 and light rain and a chance of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
Love a great deal? This is the big one. The Big One sales event is going on now, and you can get 3.99% APR plus 90 days until you make your first payment on Camry's new elevated design. Make every drive count and get 2.99% on the stylish Corolla. Rule every adventure and get 2.99% on a new RAV4. Or enjoy the power and get 1.99% on the tough Tundra. Come see us for the big one at Panama City Toyota.
Offer ends July 31st. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
Kickoff on the Plains is coming. Auburn football returns August 31st. Only on your home for the Tigers.
Exclusively at ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
The boys are back in town. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick, Johnny Yankee Seed, and the Bone Crusher, reminding you guys that the Atlanta Braves are coming up next at 6 o'clock. Coverage starts right after us, and then first pitch tonight pretty early on after the pregame show starts here, 6:10. In fact, you'll probably already be in Citi Field with the broadcast booth by the time that we get there to that game. Charlie Morton going for the Braves, and he is going up against, I already daggum forgot, Code. Oh yeah, that's right.
Debut.
Kodai Senga making his debut. Your thoughts on your Yankees, real quick here. What do you think? No thoughts.
They're awful.
They're
awful.
You guys started out the season loving them Yankees so much and everything they brought to the table.
We are. I thought it was different with Soto addition because maybe it changed the clubhouse, but Aaron Boone can't manage his way out of a wet paper bag. I am so sick of Cashman. I am beyond frustrated with those two. Like the roster
is starting to sound like some New York radio, baby.
The roster may be good enough. Yeah. It might not be good enough. It may be missing a few pieces, but I don't have confidence in those two. I think they're awful.
There we go. We'll see what happens. We still got it's still a little bit of a marathon left to go.
I would still say Cashman can make some deals and they can get the players there that you guys are looking for. But Boone, I would totally agree with him, though, with what you're saying about Boone.
I'm not confident in Cashman at all. He's made such bad deals.
Well, just leave Aaron Boone there long enough to where he can catch up to Bobby Cox.
But let me ask you this then, real quick, though, before we get off there, because you're talking about the bad deals. Now, had the winning came about, would you still say they made bad deals if you guys were winning?
If they would have won one more in the last decade, maybe I would just be like, okay, status quo, whatever. But he's derailed some some seasons here with a few bad trades. The Josh Donaldson one sticks out at me the most. It's God
so late
awful.
in his career.
Oh my goodness.
I think part of your guys' problem is like New York's not a destination anymore like it used to be for a lot of big name type players. Before it used to be, hey, I want to go play in the Big Apple. I want to be part of that media. I want to have that hype and whatever. Nowadays, people are looking like, hey, it's easier to come to like Florida where there's like, it's cheaper. The taxes are better, suited for you to make more money. I think guys,
better.
yeah, it's better weather. So I think people are also looking at things differently now than what they did like maybe 20 years ago.
I agree with that to some point, but I also think this younger generation has gotten soft. They don't like the lights. They can't handle the pressure.
Ooh,
and
I'd agree with that.
Not to mention, but players also like to have self-worth now, and you got to shave your beard, you got to shave your mustache, you got to play in. Who wants that? They want to stand out. So I think that rule needs to go away, to be honest.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Now that Steinbrenner's dead, they could change it.
Yeah, right. It's like, in the day and age where the beard is back and, it feels like 90% of baseball is in the middle of the playoffs in the Stanley Cup because of the beards that they have. It's like, maybe you have to really take a hard look at that rule. Because, some of the young guys might... who have like grown up as Yankee fans, jump at the opportunity. But however, maybe that does have an issue with landing certain free agents. I mean, Juan Soto, who's never had a beard, so that's not no issue. Aaron Judge, I don't think, but he's always been in the Yankees organization, so that's the only.
Some people
way
can't even grow a beard.
Right. I mean, you see this,
but it don't matter.
This wouldn't be acceptable either, though, for the New York
Yankees. I mean, I'd have a hard time. I'd sign with the Yankees. I mean, I guess if they offer you enough money, I guess
I think any of us would have a hard time signing with the New York Yankees, and that has nothing to do with our facial hair or anything, but just based on our talent alone.
The hair can grow back, but the money you might not be able to make again. So
hey, no doubt. All right, UFC 304 is upon us, and we've got two belts on the line in this one.
Both of these fights are rematches. They have both been fought before, and both times ended in injury.
Who are the matches that we have here?
We have Leon Rocky Edwards, the champ, versus Bilal Muhammad, and they fought once before, and an injury to the eye, a poke, stopped that fight in the second round.
Who was the ref?
I think it was Herb Dean.
No, not Herb.
No, this was just. This was just. It was a very bad eye poke. But the first round was Leon won the first round. It was clear.
Who was that fight? Me and Rick were watching it, I believe. I think it was a UFC fight where the dude, I think it was a fight night fight. It was in between the last main event and where we're at today. And he was giving it all he had, but it just seemed like his eye was about to fall out. I don't think that was PFL.
No, it was UFC. I remember it was a bad fight. They stopped the fight because of the bad cut. Above the eye. I don't remember who it was though.
I can see it, but I can't think of the name of it.
I think it was an elbow that got him split open. The ground and pound dude was on the ground and he got hit with an elbow and it gashed him open pretty bad.
And he still kept on trying. And I think it was Herb Dean that was reffing that one. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Your quick sentiments on Jake Paul and what's going on in his world with the latest fight against Mike Perry.
I
don't want to spend too much time on this, guys.
For someone who's a fan of mixed martial arts and loves the UFC and has watched it so long, and to watch these older guys go over there for a quick payday and just... His fans have a tendency to disrespect the game, and they're thinking they're putting him on a pedestal, and they don't realize that there's weight classes for a reason. You fight someone your size, man.
Yeah.
Fight an actual boxer, because we know what's happened when he actually faced a boxer. It wasn't a win.
Yeah.
So why do you have to fight guys that are smaller than you? Mike Perry was giving up 5 inches and 40 pounds? This is ridiculous.
Here's one other thing I will say, though. Obviously, that one was supposed to be against Tyson, and the stomach ulcers for Tyson on the airplane set that back until November. However, there's only a select few names out there that, one, are willing to get into that kind of circus of boxing, if you will. And then, two, Jake Paul's not going to just go out there and fight any old boxer. One, because that leaves him open to damage because of what we've seen him up against in a professional boxer in Tommy Fury. But then also, it's not the draw. If the draw's not there for Jake Paul and whoever the other boxer is, that's that fight. Because Jake Paul alone isn't the draw. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, Jake Paul. Like, yes, he is drawing here, but if he's not fighting anyone, you might get the YouTube followers over there, but you're not going to get the people who want to see Jake Paul get his bait.
Yeah, that's it. The draw is watching him lose. That's what people want to see.
Right.
That's what people want to pay for.
And if he loses 2 more times or so, then all of this that he's built up is kind of out the window as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I just think he needs to go back to Disney, man. Give it up, dude, because you're a phony. Jake Paul, if you're listening, you are a phony.
Yeah, he would whoop your tail.
He probably would. He's a lot bigger than me, and that's the reason why, like I said, they got weight classes.
He likes to fight guys like you.
Yeah, no, likes to pick on people, basically is what I'm saying. So, you're like taking the Floyd Mayweather route, setting up your fights so that you can purposefully win every fight, so you can be undefeated, so you can look good, look pretty, pad your bank account, and that's all great and everything. But are you a really athlete? Are you a real fighter? No, you're not.
He's definitely an athlete. I'm not going to sit here and go as far as to disrespect some of the guys that we've seen raised through the boxing ranks and say that he's a real fighter. However, watching way too many of his fights, he has gotten better.
If he wants to be called a real fighter, then get into the ranks of some real, either boxing or UFC, league or, platform, PFL, whatever it is, and go against some real competition.
All right, we spent too much time on that, and I'm right there with you.
Right on.
Too much time on that, though, just because I just realized, we've only got 26 minutes left. 2 new rules before we get on to 304. 2 new rules that's happening in UFC. When are those going to be starting? Break those down for us.
I want to say it was October 1st or November 1st, but they are allowing 12 to 6 elbows now. I remember we talked about that on the last show.
Straight down.
Yes, and so Bones Jones is already like, hey, let's get that loss out of there, which I agree with him.
But do you think Dana White is doing that to help the appeal process of John Bones Jones?
Maybe a little bit, but I think the game's starting to evolve a little bit, and when they used to have trouble getting into these states to get fights legally made.
Licensed.
Yes. Someone has said it's human cockfighting, basically. And New York
Those are the chickens.
Yes. And New York was the last state to come along, and they said the game, it was barbaric. And they outlawed stuff like that to clean it up, so it was a lot cleaner on the eye. So now that everyone's such a fan and there's big money and everyone's involved, okay, let's slowly bring it back.
All right.
So everybody wants blood.
Everybody was human fighting.
So this is going to be good or bad, though, because this is going to be good because the knockouts are going to be great, but
the long-term damage is going to be severe.
And some guys aren't going to be able to come back. They're going to get nasty cuts and gouges, and they'll be out for a while, and it cause them to reopen those cuts again, just like a boxer would be. And
the reason it's bad is because the one loss for Bones Jones is Matt Hamill. I don't think he ever fought again, and it was very bad. So I kind of see a case for it, and I kind of but part of me is like, hey, gladiators, let's go.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you're in there.
It's like with all other sports, they're headed to basketball. It's like, we're not even going to let you play on back-to-backs. Football, you got to wear this pillow on your head on top of your helmet. Baseball, actually their rules are kind of maybe
oven mitts on their hands.
There you go.
There you go.
So
something similar.
Found something there.
Yeah.
So all of these rules are more advantageous for the health of players, and the UFC is like, not over here.
But when your end game is to knock your opponent out,
Right.
I mean, how safe can you make it?
We're going to see a lot of blood now because of that. So
There
that's
you
a
go.
good thing and a bad thing, I guess.
What's the second rule?
Second one?
Oh, yes, there will be blood.
Oh, yes.
A hand down on the mat is no longer considered down. So, how if you
It has
have
to be a knee down on the mat?
Yeah, so it's any body part, I believe, but your feet and your hands.
So you can use your hand to support yourself from a takedown.
No. So if you have your hand down on the mat, you cannot knee that person in the head. Certain strikes aren't allowed.
Right.
But now that hand is no longer safe. You're opened up to free game. So another reason, more violence. Let's go. So because there's been fighters who just sit there with their hand on the mat for a minute, and it's what are we doing? Let's get this going.
Yeah.
So.
I like it.
real quick, too, you saw the video of Johnny Carter and the other fighter. Your thoughts on that? And we're going to have, I believe we're having them back next Friday with this, so I'll play this back for him.
I'm going to be brutally honest. He did not win, but he did not lose.
Okay.
That fight was 100% on the referee. What were you doing letting them just hold him on the cage for that long, doing nothing? He was clearly the more active fighter against the cage, striking him. I mean, your strikes can't do as much when you're on the cage like that, but he was controlled.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he was controlled. Remember when I told you they were trying to get away from the control time? Like, let's keep it active. Let's do something.
Yeah.
That ref blew it, in my opinion.
Blew it. All right, there we go.
So he has a case.
Hey, and we'll have Rob Moriarty, I believe, with us next Friday as well. So it should be a lot of fun next Friday. All right, let's keep it rolling here. We've got 5 minutes left in this segment and just a few other. Any new fighters to watch? Any new fighters on the horizon that we should be looking out for?
There's 2 fights on the undercards. They're not new fighters, but they have championship potential. Muhammad Makayev is undefeated. He's probably 1 or 2 fights away from actually maybe contending for a belt. Obviously, he needs to win to get there, but this is a big test for him. And they actually just got into a fight yesterday in the hotel. So there's bad.
These guys did?
They do not like each other. This is bad blood. This is the best fight on the undercard. I would watch it. It has a chance to be a snoozer though, because Makayev is a very like Habib type wrestler.
Yeah.
Let's just drown you out and take you to deep waters and just control the fight. Manel Kape, he has hands. So I think the little extra added effort of not liking someone, this could be a good fight.
And that is on the early prelims. Is there anything from the prelims that jump out to you?
The only other one on the prelims that really steps out is Molly McCann, Meatball Molly.
Meatball Molly.
So she was on a little bit of a losing streak. She went down a weight class, and she looked phenomenal. She rattles off a couple more wins. Maybe we might be talking about her going for a belt. So I want to see how she does in this fight as well.
So now she's a Swedish meatball. Those are the smaller ones, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't know. I
think they got a little sauce on them.
Yeah, they got a different sauce though, not a red sauce.
Yeah,
you know?
there
a little
you
savory.
go. Swedish meatball Molly. Yeah, dude. Every time that Patty fights, is Molly on the same card?
For the most part. She's been a little more active than him. I know he's coming off a very bad injury. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to go ahead and start diving into, do we want to pick every fight on the prelim or?
No, let's do main card.
All right. Main card it is. Yeah, because we are kind of running out of time here. In fact, Bone Crusher, let's do this. Let's go ahead and run to a break. That'll give us plenty of time here in our final segment of the afternoon. We'll be right back talking more UFC 304.
Come on vacation.
Summer vacation. Hey, how's your vacation going?
Leave on probation.
Sheriff's deputies in Panama City Beach arresting 161 people during an out-of-control spring break weekend.
Welcome to the Emerald Coast. Have a great time at the beautiful beaches, but not like end up in the back of a police cruiser great. A friendly reminder from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
You want a big-time sports show? Tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
We're live and local here.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
We need one more SEC team in there to shake things up.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back. It's our final segment of the afternoon. Kyle Olburn says, no, he still fights. He called out Jones to run it back, which is funny. So whoever that opponent is. Who do you think John Bones Jones' next opponent will be?
It's Stipe.
It is Stipe.
It is. Yeah, I think they're aiming for December, I want to say. But, we're actually, one of the winners here could be facing him next, and if he doesn't retire.
Let's go. All right, let's dive into the main card here, and that starts with, is this only a 4-card?
Five fights.
Five fights. Arnold Allen and Giga. I just want to try this out. Chikadze.
Close. Chikadze.
Okay, hey, pretty close there.
I even wrote it down for you.
Lopes was not Lopes. It was Lopez.
Yep.
We all learned that together, didn't we? All right, so tell us about these fighters and what we should expect here, and then we'll make our picks.
I believe they have one common opponent. It was Calvin Kattar. Arnold Allen beat Calvin Kattar, and Giga lost to him. So I think it's a big step up in competition for Giga. I think Arnold Allen should be able to dispatch him quickly and easily.
All right. Well, then we'll go around the table here and make our picks. I'm listening to the expert here. I'm going with Arnold Allen.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same thing, too. I don't know anything about any of these guys, so I'll go with A squared, AA, Arnold Allen.
JYS? Johnny Yankee Seed?
It's Arnold Allen.
Yeah, we just got to hear it. We've got to hear it verbally so that I can write it down.
He's off 2 tough losses, but, I mean, Max Holloway's a beast.
He's a BMF.
Yes, and I can't remember the other guy he lost to, but it was a very close fight as well. I think he gets back on the win. He's at home. This should be easy for him.
Oh, yeah. England versus Georgia here. So let's see if the college football team can step up, or will it be the country of England? Another English fighter here, Christian Leroy Duncan, taking on Gregory Rodriguez out of Brazil. Tell us about these fighters and what we can expect from this matchup.
Gregory Rodriguez is RoboCop, by the way.
Oh, is that his nickname?
Yeah, I believe he's a cop in his spare time.
Oh.
He's had a nasty wound on his forehead before, too, that he continued with and actually won that fight.
Oh, man.
His last fight was pretty impressive. I think he used to just stand and bang, and I think he realized he wasn't getting anywhere with that.
Yeah.
Which would do good for him and do bad. But he went with the little BJJ last time, and then he got ground and pound, and he got an easy victory. I think he's going to continue that. This is a big step up in competition for Christian Leroy Duncan. So I just think if RoboCop fights the same way he fought last time, it's RoboCop.
All right, so you're going to take Gregory Rodriguez?
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight, unless he takes him down, though.
All right, and minus 140 for Christian Leroy Duncan. I just can't stop thinking about Leroy Jenkins, man. Do y'all remember that video back in the day? And Gregory Rodriguez is plus 120. Caveman Rick, who's your pick?
For me, I'm going to go with the home guy, man. I'm going to go with Christian Leroy Duncan. I like Leroy. I like the name Leroy. Got my nephew Kyle. His dad used to call him Leroy as a nickname, so I like that name Leroy. I'm going to go with that, with the home guy. And roll with him, and hopefully he'll give me a W.
You gotta have an underdog on every parlay that you throw out there, right? And listening to Johnny Yankee C talk about these fights, Gregory Rodriguez being plus 120, I'm gonna go that direction.
Plus, I want Leroy, man, to be standing over top of Rodriguez, asking him, "Does it hurt? Does it hurt?" And if you know, it's in RoboCop.
There you go. And I do not know. I did watch a movie that you gave me a recommendation on.
I think I know which one that might be.
Yep. But yeah, we'll talk about that later, though. King Green, 32-15-1. How my goodness, bro. That is a lot of fights. He's minus 110. He's taking on Paddy the Batty Pimblett, who is also minus 110. Got a little USA England action going on. Break it down for us, Johnny Yankee Seed.
This is a stand-up fight. They both have BJJ skills. If Paddy in his long break has not worked on his stand-up game where he exposes his chin.
Yeah, I did see him kicking some smaller people.
Yeah. It's King Green now, apparently. He changed his name to King Green.
That is, it was Bobby Green, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because that was the same video I think that I was watching. I don't care if he changed his name to King Green. It's always Bobby to me.
That's actually a pretty good accent. Green, I think it's going to be stand-up. Paddy might have an edge on the BJJ, but they both have a common opponent, and I believe it was Jared Flash Gordon, and that was the one where Paddy went to the distance and thought he won. I mean, they gave him the victory, but a lot of people were like, I don't know, I think Gordon won that fight.
Yeah.
And then Green fights him, and I believe he knocked him out, but then they said, no, it was a head clash, and they said no decision. But they were banging in there in the first round, and very exciting. And it looked like someone was going to finish someone, and Green didn't look like he was in any trouble. So I'm feeling like Green has the edge because of this, and his striking is so clean, so unorthodox. He's going to throw stuff that Paddy hasn't seen yet. I think we see Paddy's first L here.
So veteran first L in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With Bobby Green, veteranship.
Mm-hmm.
With Paddy, do you think that he gets that kind of Sugar Sean championship? Not that this guy's a champion, but like that he gets, because of his popularity, he gets a little edge via the judges, which is something I think most of us can agree we don't like, but we know that it happens.
Bobby needs to make this. If it goes to the scorecard, he could lose. Yeah, if it's close, it's Paddy. But they are in England. But Bobby, I really think he has the edge in striking here. I really do.
So you're going with King Green.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Paddy the Batty, mainly because if it goes the distance, I do think he gets it on the scorecard, and also I think he's that like Paddy. His brand is kind of that next one up. Maybe he's like 2 or 3 fights away from becoming, he's already popular, but uber popular, and maybe taking all that time off wasn't a great thing for his brand, but here we are. So I'm going Paddy the Batty. Caveman.
Yeah, same here, Paddy, man. He's fighting basically at home. He's got, he'll have the crowd behind him. He gets, a lot of that energy. So I think he won't take his first L. I think Paddy the Batty wins this one.
All right. Next up, we've got a championship match here. Is this a heavyweight bout?
Yeah, this is the interim belt. Why Bones and Stipe are waiting to fight.
All right, yeah. So
Tom Aspinall just won the belt against. I'm blanking on who he fought, but he got the belt. But they fought before, and Tom Aspinall broke his leg in like the first 45 seconds of the fight on a leg kick. So this is a first rematch, kind of trying to get it off his record.
Pavlovic?
Yeah, he knocked him out cold. Who did that to him? And no one's done that to him.
Yeah.
So, I'm picking Tom Aspinall. I think he's a freak. I think he's actually someone who could challenge John Bones Jones, and he has all the tools to do it.
He's minus 400. Curtis Blades is plus 300. Curtis Blades 18-4. Tom Aspinall 14-3. These guys are 6'5" and 6'4". Tom is 6'5". Curtis 6'4". Over 250 pounds. Is this a stand? Are they standing and banging? What kind of bout?
I think it's a stand-up fight. Curtis Blades is a hell of a wrestler, though. But Tom Aspinall's proved he's a hell of a wrestler, too, and a hell of a BJJ guy.
Yeah.
Like I said, a little bit of everything he has. Curtis Blades does have power. He can knock him out as well. But Curtis Blades has shown every time there's a big test in front of him, he kind of comes up a little bit short. And it's kind of awful because I really like the guy. I think he's a great fighter. He just can't get past that last hurdle. So.
All right, so you're going with Tom Aspinall. All right, Caveman Rick.
I'm going with a spin all because, I don't know, it just sounds cool. Tom Aspinall, yeah, he's on home court, home ice, home rink, whatever you want to call it.
Home octagon.
Yeah, home octagon. He's I'm sure just like Paddy and guys like that, what do they call them over there? Blokes.
Yeah.
Or hooligans. So we're going to go over there and kick some ass. And yeah, Tom Aspinall.
All right. I'm gonna go with Tommy as well. Minus 400. That's that kind of just shows you which direction. And I know
Vegas,
that it doesn't. Yeah, but when you get to those kind of numbers, that's where it's like either they're really trying to bait you on something, or they don't want you to win any money. You're gonna have to put a ton of money to actually win anything. So with that, the underdog odds kind of scare me off a little bit. I'm gonna ride with Tom Aspinall, and hopefully we get that fight that Johnny Yankee was talking about between John Bones Jones and Aspinall. Well, it'll be Stipe first, though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, and then the winner of that would get the opportunity at the belt.
Yeah, they're gonna reunite the belts.
Why did Stipe lose the belt, or what
no,
is it?
Stipe is out on injury.
Okay.
No, Bones was out on injury, and I think they want to Stipe away. But I know why Bones wants him. It's a legacy fight. They fought DC. It's kind of. I think there's a little inside rivalry. Like, I'm gonna beat everyone that DC beat. One of those type deals.
Yeah.
Like, so there's no questions. I am the greatest. So I think that's why he wants Stipe. And to me, I agree with him. Stipe is the GOAT of that division. He held the belt the longest, most title defenses. The man's a beast. So
there you go. All right, and then our main event of 304, Leon Edwards taking on Bilal Muhammad. Leon 22-3, Muhammad 23-3. Tail of the tape, Leon is 6'2", Bilal's 5'11", but they both weigh in at 170, and Leon only 32, Bilal 36. Reach 2-inch favor in Leon's corner there, and so what do we expect out of this one? What is your takeaway from this, Johnny Yankee seed?
I like a lot of fighters, and I usually have respect for everyone. I do not like Bilal Muhammad.
Okay.
I think he's boring. I don't know if I can say it, but Connor calls people who wrestle like him crotch sniffers.
Okay,
So,
you said it. So
I didn't know. I didn't know if we can. But sorry, sorry. But yeah, this guy likes to just stay down there and doesn't want to take a shot. So, Leon Edwards can wrestle. He can do it. He can make it stand up. He's fought a way better wrestler than Usman. I think this is a stand-up fight. I think you better watch out for a shin kick, because I think we can see another one like he did to Usman.
Ooh, there you go. All right, so you're taking Leon Edwards.
Oh, yes.
Caveman Rick.
I'm going the same way. My one of my grandfathers, my pop-pop, his name was Leon. I like the name Leon. He's, again, fighting at home. Bigger guy in size and stature, so give me that guy, and I think he wins.
I like the first half of that pick there. A few of yours on UFC to this point. I think a lot of us do this as well. Is almost like wives of huge sports fans when it comes to March Madness, where it's just like like that
mascots or uniforms and stuff like that.
Just anything. It doesn't have to just be the mascots or the uniforms.
Wherever we got a connection,
right? And I think that a lot of us do that for a lot of different things, especially the things that we don't necessarily know about, and we have a better chance of picking right when we don't know about things, I feel like, anyways, than when we know have. It's like the more studying I do on certain tournaments or whatever it may be, I'm just like and then I'm more mad because it's like, man, I spent all that time doing it, now I feel like a daggum idiot,
overthinking it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. With Caveman Rick, you're going Leon Edwards. I think we sweep this out here. I'm going to go with Leon Edwards as well.
Slight favorite too.
Did y'all pick the same five?
No, we did not, because he went with Christian Duncan. He went with Leroy Duncan.
Okay.
And then me and you, our only difference, actually, we all picked Arnold Allen. We all picked Aspinall, and then we all picked Leon Edwards.
Okay.
Yep.
So the difference is me and Caveman have Patty, you have King Green, and then me and you have Greg Rodriguez, and Caveman Rick has Christian Leroy
Got
Duncan.
Leroy.
What fight on this card, on the main card, are you looking forward to the most? Which one do you think has the best shot at being the best fight of the night?
Probably that Leroy Duncan RoboCop fight. I think they're going to stand up, and I think they're going to go at it. I mean, and if he does take him to the ground, it's going to be over quickly too. So I think that fight's going to be quick.
What fight are you looking forward to the least on the main card?
Probably the Patty fight.
Really?
I feel
Is it because it's hard to get a gauge on this fight?
I think so. I think so. It's a very close fight. I think Patty can make it boring, and that's why I'm kind of like hesitant.
Don't you think, though, in front of like basically the home crowd, he's going to try to make it exciting, though, and try to get everybody, because he's going to have, everybody behind him, I'm sure.
If he does, I really hope he worked on a stand-up game, because he presented his jaw, and King Green can hit. So I just keep seeing that in my head.
Yeah.
If he hasn't learned how to tuck that chin, he's in trouble. The Leon fight could be great, but it also can be a snoozer because of Bilal. So I'm like, I don't know where to go with it. I think the Aspinall Blades fight is going to be amazing, but I don't know if it's going to go long because they're heavyweights.
Right.
So this card could either be really good or it could be kind of like
be a snoozer.
Yeah, and I'm hoping not. It has the potential for both.
When it is a snoozer, is it easier to snooze when you're sitting in that comfortable chair there watching it at the movie theater?
It's so hard because I'm an early bird and I'm I'm old, I'm fat, I'm ready to go home, I'm tired. So
do you just leave? Have you ever left early from some of those events?
No, I always stay because I couldn't
afraid you might miss something, right?
I wouldn't let myself live it up, man.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, man, I can't believe I did that to myself.
No doubt. Got about 3 minutes left here. How about UFC 305, which is in like 2 weeks' time, right? It's going to be August 17th. What are some fights that you're looking forward to there?
I haven't even looked at the card yet, so if you can give me a couple fights.
I give you the main event. You know who the main event is, right?
Is it?
It's DDP and Israel Adesanya. Then we're looking at, I'm only seeing 3 fights from this one at this point, but
filled it, yeah.
Kai Kara France taking on
That's a great fight.
Steve Urqueg.
Yeah, that's a great fight.
And then Shui time, Tai Tuivasa,
love him,
taking on Jairzinho Rosenstreet.
Someone's going to sleep.
Someone's going to sleep,
yes.
Man. What about from the early prelims in this particular card here? Is there anyone that would be of note that you would tell people, hey, if you ain't got nothing going on, you might want to tune in for this particular bout?
It's just the 2 fighters I've mentioned. I'd really tune in for Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape. I really do think either of those guys are like a win or 2 away from actually going for a belt. So they really, I can't emphasize it enough, they really don't like each other. So this could be bad.
So who do you think gets the bonus at the end of the night?
They did raise it to 100.
100,000?
King Green got Uncle Dana to up to 100. So if I had to say someone's getting a bonus, it could be Arnold Allen. It could be Tom. It could be that RoboCop.
And do you think anybody can coerce Dana White into upping the bonus, like kind of how we seen was the last
Alex
one?
Pereira.
Yeah,
I was going to say what these fighters need to do is stop doing this stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
Wait till you have an explosive
victory.
Yeah, victory, and then just do it right there in the ring. Put them on the spot, just like how you used to do with our parents. Like, hey, can I go stay at Johnny's house? Like
he claimed a language barrier in the back, and he just milked himself into a bonus. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're teasing news on him again already. This guy just fights.
Pereira?
He is so active. He said he wanted to rest until later in the year.
Yeah.
He's already he posted Dana White accept call or decline. So I'm like, what is going on there? And so we could be seeing news already again. Dude, I just love that guy.
That's good though. The more they want to fight, man, the more they want to get in the ring is better than not being in the ring.
And do you think he would make the jump? We're almost out of time here. Do you think he would make the jump to heavyweight in this next fight, or is it another one at light heavyweight to kind of separate himself further?
I think Joe Rogan has talked him into it, and Dana. And I think he's going to let him go there. I don't know if it's his next fight or the next one after that.
Yeah,
I think that's a mistake.
Wait
personally.
a little bit, hype it up.
Yeah. Oh God, I just don't know if he's big enough for those guys.
Yeah, those guys are huge.
Aspinall's a monster.
Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness.
He's tall and skinny. I get it. His power may translate, but he needs some meat for the chin.
Johnny Yankee Seed, you'll be back with us Monday. We'll be recapping this fight. He'll be filling in for Coach Brian Haddad, who will still be on the road. Thank you guys for listening to us this week. Your Atlanta Braves are coming up next. First pitch at 6:10. Coach James Hill Show will be live Monday at 7, and the Inside Drive back at 11. We'll be back at 4. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe. Just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.
Every huge moment of the Atlanta Braves season as we load up for a run at the division crown.
2-0, and he hits one high in the air towards deep right center to the wall, and it ain't sticking around. It's a 3-run home run.
Tonight, the battle for the East hits the road to New York as Austin Riley and the Braves take on division rivals, the New York Mets, at Citi Field.
Coverage coming up at 6. First pitch at 6:10 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. A variety of light sprinkles and some clouds tonight with a wind coming out of the southeast at 2 miles per hour and a low of 80. Tomorrow morning, look for light sprinkles with a temperature near 86. The afternoon and evening, a high around 88 and light rain and a chance of thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Most in the big leagues. So they've been very good in clutch situations and certainly were last night. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
WVLQ Port St. Joe. WGSX Lynn Haven. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Well, upon our return, I'll introduce you to who else is in the lineup tonight, take you through the lineups, and then get to the first pitch shortly thereafter. Braves and the Mets tonight on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Shooting drills.
A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve. But one who genuinely cares about each player.
You have what it takes. We got this.
Can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Digging, grading, tilling, and mowing. All in a day's work with Yanmar, the tractor that works as hard as you do. Discover new possibilities at yanmartractor.com.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job, it's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting your family.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
The next strikeout is sponsored by the Coach James Hill Show.
Strike three.
Monday mornings, 7 to 9 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back in New York, Braves and the Mets here at Citi Field. Game 2 in a series of 4. Want to remind you that Prize Picks is the official daily fantasy sports partner of the Atlanta Braves. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code BRAVES for a first deposit match up to $100. Time now for the starting lineups. We'll start off with the visiting Braves. For Atlanta, this is game number 102 of the season. 60 games left to be played after tonight. Brian Snitker's Braves trying to put an end to a 5-game losing streak. Should they lose tonight, it would be their longest losing streak of the year. The Braves are 54-47. They're in second place in the East, 9.5 games back of the Phillies, and the Braves are only a half game ahead of these Mets in the wild card standings. Leading it off for the Braves tonight, center fielder Jared Kelenic. Batting second, third baseman Austin Riley, and hitting third, designated hitter Marcell Ozuna. Hitting cleanup, first baseman Matt Olson. Batting fifth, catcher Travis d'Arnaud. Hitting sixth for Atlanta, left fielder Eddie Rosario. Batting seventh, right fielder Adam Duvall. Batting eighth, second baseman Nacho Alvarez. Batting ninth, shortstop Orlando Arcia. And on the mound for the Braves, the right-hander Charlie Morton. He's 5-5 with a 3.92 ERA. The last time he pitched in New York, he was brilliant. 7 innings, got a win, and looking for more of that tonight versus the Mets. So again for the Braves, it's Kelenic, Riley, Ozuna, Olson, d'Arnaud, Rosario, Duvall, Alvarez, Arcia, and Morton on the mound. Now for Carlos Mendoza's Mets, they have won 4 straight. They are 54-48. They're in third place in the East, 10 games back of the Phillies, and they'll lead it off with their surging shortstop Francisco Lindor. Batting second, and in the lineup for the first time of the series, left fielder Brandon Nimmo. Batting third, designated hitter J.D. Martinez. Batting cleanup, first baseman Pete Alonso. Hitting fifth, last night's hero for the Mets, right fielder Jeff McNeil. Batting sixth, third baseman Mark Vientos. Hitting seventh, second baseman Jose Iglesias. Batting eighth, catcher Francisco Alvarez. Batting ninth, center fielder Tyrone Taylor. And on the mound making his season debut, it is Kodai Senga. He had a great season last year, was second in the Rookie of the Year, but he's making his season debut tonight. He is a right-hander from Japan. So once again for the Mets, it's Lindor, Nimmo, Martinez, Alonso, McNeil, Vientos, Iglesias, Alvarez, Taylor, and Senga on the mound. When Darren and I come back, we'll have the first pitch of the ball game, Braves and Mets, right around the corner on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
This is for anyone doing plumbing, pipe fitting, or HVAC work. If you're not making $53 an hour total package, including health insurance, benefits, and a retirement pension, we want to talk to you. We're the plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVACR techs of UA 72, and we've got a job for you. Safe conditions, working with great people in Metro Atlanta. Visit ua72.org. Click Join Us, and we'll send you a list of openings right now. ua72.org.
On my off days, the last thing I want to do is take my Ford Bronco SUV in for service. Lucky for me, there's complimentary Ford pickup and delivery and Ford mobile service.
Available for Ford owners like Michael Harris and you. So if you don't have time to spend at the dealership,